AM Caffeine Morning Show in the building. Boy DLC Red Beard by my side. Special guest, Bobby Ross Avila in the building.
What? Dude, you need to work on your Spanish.
Work on your English, Bobby Ross Avila. Hates.
Get your morning started the right way with the AM Caffeine Morning Show.
Now, I think what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to have like a little Grammy challenge. A couple weeks ago, we had playing skills. Cool Cats sat in with the crew. They won 2 Grammys, and we thought we was doing big things, right?
Of course.
But damn, our guest today got 4 Grammys. Smash those dudes. Like,
4 of them.
That's the homie, but he got them beat like double time. They got to step their production game up. Man, Bobby Ross Avila is in the building from the Avila brothers, dog. You know, I've been knowing about, I don't like to age people, man, but I've been knowing about Bobby since he was like 13 years old, that you've been rocking, doing this music thing, dude.
Wow.
When he was just little Bobby Ross Avila.
Yeah, man. It's been a journey.
It's been a serious journey.
Yep, absolutely.
So today what we're going to do, man, is he has a new project about to come out. So we're going to talk about that. But before we even get into what he has currently, you goofies out there need to understand the work that he's put in, and his brother. What up is? So, Ron C., I want to play like, do these people know that he was part of Confessions? Like, come on, man, that's Usher's Thriller. Man. Usher's dope, but he'll never do that again. Can I agree? Like, that album from top to bottom is a classic album. He'll never do that again. To be a part of that. So we're going to play something. Now, just do that Janet Jackson. I'll slap the hell out of everybody here, dog. To work with Janet Jackson, by far the greatest whisper singer ever. Like, nobody can whisper sing like Janet Jackson.
It's so melodic, though.
So sexy.
Done joints. I mean, Shaka Khan. The list goes on and on. So we're going to play some joints, Ron C. Let's get into this mix. And then when we come back, we're just going to talk to Bobby about the history, dog. AM Caffeine Morning Show. Bobby Ross Avila is in the building. And not every, Bobby is kind of low key. Like, you think he's out there, but he's really not. You know how long we've been working on this interview? Since he's been 13. AM Caffeine Morning Show's in the building. Ron C., let it go. This mix is brought to you by Confections Cupcakes. ConfectionsCupcakes.com. In your mouth, Ron C., let it go. AM Caffeine Morning Show is Friday. Special guest, Grammys all day. Let it go, Ron C.
Showed up.
AM Caffeine Morning Show. That was Ron C.'s In Your Mouth Quickie Mix. Brought to you by Confections Cupcakes. Like, all them damn songs, like, Bobby was, like, produced and wrote, like, all that crap.
The boy is crap.
That boy got talent. Bobby, man, how does it feel when you hear songs that you have done that have become such a influential part of an artist's career? Like, when you hear songs from Usher's Confessions, and I know we were just talking off air about the process that you went through in making some of those songs. Mm-hmm. And then after you don't hear for such a long time and you see how big it's become, like, how do you feel when you hear that stuff?
I think just over the last 15 years of being a creator, songwriter, it was a crazy period in my life at that time. And being young, being 13 years old, and I'm going to date myself.
Yeah, take us back, because I definitely want to start with the origin of being 13 and how do you get involved in music and become associated with some of the, I would have to say, some of the biggest producers that music has ever seen, with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. How does that happen? And you're Hispanic, but I think you black, dog. Like, where does all that soul come from?
You know what, man? I was fortunate enough to be in a home. My dad really he had a great sensibility of not looking at color as most of us do in this day and age and his generation, and brought really great music into the home. And he had a history of being a band leader, manager of top 40 bands at the time, and it was kind of equivalent to, you know, what a Vice or what a DJ AM is, or a Getta, what they mean now,
right,
in clubs. So I was fortunate enough to be in that environment as a young kid and be able to experience great music and understand the origin and the history of music. And I was very much into technology.
Right.
As a young kid, I just understood it. That's something that comes from God. I can't even explain it, but I just understood it. So, you know, at one point my dad was really kind of tired and done with really, you know, being on the road all the time, being away. And I got a lot of experience just kind of when they would have their sets, they would have like a intermission. And me and my brother would go up and play in between. Mm-hmm. And my dad was such a G. He would let us go in these clubs with him and just play, and would let the club managers just say no. So, you know, he got me very on this journey of just kind of being experienced to not to be afraid to be on stage. And he just saw something. And it was natural, and I think I just progressed. And, you know, to make a long story short, you know, I was writing songs and I was just experimental. You know, I was listening to Roger. He played Simple Things, and Simple Things is nothing. I was just copying Bee Gees and Roger.
Right.
You know, so to hear people talk about Simple Things, like for me, it's just like, okay, well, I was doing some Troutman and some Bee Gees, and I just kind of took it and made it me and put Usher on it.
Right.
So my dictionary when it came to music was, I have such a variety. Like I love James Taylor, I love Jim Croce, I love Junie Morrison and Bernie Worrell and Clinton and Parliament and Funkadelic, and you know, a lot of those guys actually influenced me a whole lot. I spent a lot of good time with Roger Troutman, and you know, became that guy for Talkbox, and now currently just getting ready to do a Zap record. And,
right.
You know, it was just this journey, man. And next thing you knew, I was 12 years old, and I got signed to RCA Records, and then I'm opening up and touring all over the world with New Kids on the Block and meeting an array of people and experiencing certain things. But I was just such a recluse and just focused on music. I was like this little, like I look at pictures of who I was when I was a kid, and I was just engulfed in music and just the technology part and wanting to be a mechanic in that world.
Right.
And I didn't take anything serious until I got older and understood that the one thing that's never late are bills.
Right.
Right. So, you know, the biggest thing for music is the only kind of profession that you don't have to have a degree.
Absolutely.
You know, you could just wake up one day and, you know, I'm a producer, and we always say this, like, you know, if you can last in this business and make a career out of it and generate some type of success in 20 years, you're very lucky. Right. Because it just takes so much hard work. And, you know, going from you know, opening up to, you know, 70, 80,000 people a night with New Kids on the Block, and then it just stops. And then, you know, you find yourself, you're on TV everywhere, and then you're back, and then next thing you know, you're putting a record out independent, and then Terry Lewis calls on the phone at the studio you're working at and checking up on a Janet Jackson record, and then you're in Minneapolis with Sounds of Blackness and Mint Condition, and you're around everybody, and they want to sign you as an artist. So, you know, I went through just this long freaking journey of just being who I am, and it's like, you know, you find it where you work hard, but you know, I think at the end of the day, you know, the work paid off, and I went through series of just doubting every day.
Right.
I went through that, working harder than everybody every day, and that pushed me to learn how to play a bass the way I play it, or a guitar, or harmonica, or a talk box, or playing a piano, or writing melodies, writing lyrics, coming up with just my own compositions, being on an MPC and crate digging, and knowing the origin of records and where everybody gets what they get. You know, there's nothing new under the sun, right? So you just kind of take what you hear and you just make it you. I mean, there's this story with Miles Davis where he told Prince, you must be tired every day, because one day you're Sly Stone, one day you're James Brown, one day you're this, one day you're Jimi Hendrix, one day you're... But the truth is that that's really a great thing,
right?
Because, you know, music's the only language that bypasses the brain and goes straight to the heart, and we all take from everybody. I mean, Miles was definitely an innovator, but, you know, why did he pick up a trumpet?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, you know, it's just all of those things that's what kept me alive. When I was going through hardships and stuff, music just really, man, I never forget, me and Elder Barge had this conversation. It's like, you know, how great is it that we can go to a place that most people can't go and just get away and get our minds off of what's going on in our life that's negative, and just go to this place of just finding peace and finding rest, you know. And I think that, to me, is the beauty of what we do. And I'm looking at these records over here, and it's like, that's just magic. That these records change lives.
Absolutely. You
know what I'm saying? So, you know, going through ups and downs through this business, doing confessions really wasn't, you know, I was really tired, you know, and I thank God I had my brother with me, but I was really tired.
So you're really tired just of the industry, of the ups and downs, or you had done so much up until that point where you just, not saying that you didn't want to do music anymore, but at some point we all come to whatever our careers are where you're just like, oh man, I'm just tired.
Yeah. Exactly.
Was it?
Yeah.
Was it because this music business and entertainment business, if you're not built for it, you would get your ass ate up.
That's it. And, you know, one thing, I was never a punk, you know, and I never believed in giving up. But, you know, the word that you just said, you know, I would have conversations with my brother where it was just like, I'm tired, dude.
Right.
I'm tired. I don't have no football pictures. I don't have basketball pictures. I don't have no homecoming pictures.
Right.
You know, I was in the studio since I was 9 years old. So, you know, at some point, you do get burnt out. You don't know. You tried everything and you just don't know. And I found myself so engulfed in the business where I learned marketing, I learned radio promotion, I learned branding. I learned so much internally with the business that I made myself available for any opportunity. So I knew at that point I was tired, because I can do radio better than a radio guy. And I can do marketing, and then I can write the records, I can play. You know, one great quality that my dad instilled in me was that never depend on anybody else, depend on yourself. And that became my motto throughout my life. So I always strived and thrived on somebody pushing and pushing and pushing me. That I love being taught. Right. You know, you never hear a sponge talk, right?
Absolutely.
So
right.
That's the whole thing with me, was just press. And at the time when, you know, everything just finally was just done for me and I was tired, you know, I crossed this bridge. I wrote a letter to Jam and Lewis, and I said, look, this is what me and Iz are doing right now. And, you know, I wrote this letter 6 months before my record deal with Warner Brothers fell apart, and I can see the future because I've been there and done it, and I knew what was going to happen. So they were getting ready to retire, and our roads just kind of met up again at the same place at the right time. And man, we went on this run that was like amazing.
Incredible.
I just talked to Terry on Friday, and we talked about this, man. And, you know, we did it in this small room, and we changed all of our lives. And, you know, I think of it like the movie Seabiscuit. It's like everybody was going through something different and their challenges, and then everybody just met at the same time at the same place, and you know, everybody kind of healed each other without even knowing it. And that's really what happened. And you know, I used to say, man, if I could just have a gold record, I would be wow.
Right.
And you know, got that, and just I didn't realize what was going on. And then, you know, Confessions came out. We were number 1, number 2. Janet's record was number 2, and it was like 1 million, 2 million, 3 million. And I was so numb at, you know, I didn't realiance what was happening.
How big it was.
Yeah, and then next thing you know, I didn't even want to go see Usher perform.
Right.
And I seen Prince the week before for my birthday. My mom and dad, I was like, Jam Lewis, I'm out. I'm gonna watch Prince. I think he was doing musicology at that time. And I was like, Usher,
I'm cool.
I'm good. And you know, at the last minute, we were working on this record called Harajuku Girls for Gwen Stefani, and I finished up just on time. And when I went to the Staples Center and I just watched,
and you seen like,
and
God,
I seen everybody.
This
like,
is huge.
I'm looking at this white dude who's like 47
Knew
years
all
old.
the lyrics,
The
huh?
Asian, yeah, they were like singing their lyrics, and I was going,
Wow.
dang, like, I literally was, I was like in tears. I was like, dang.
And that's when you realized how big this was.
Yeah, and what I also realized is throughout all the years of everybody telling you you're this, you're that, you're good, you know, you're not black enough, you're not brown enough, you're not white enough, you're not yellow enough, you're not purple enough, that really at the end of the day, what God has given you, that is what really is explosive. That's the magic when you can connect. And everybody had all these plans of how it's supposed to be, and the one time I'm not even thinking about it, and I'm kind of done.
Right.
And it just happens, you know. And then we went on this run, and we, you know, Mary J. Blige and then Shaka Khan. And the crazy thing was I met Shaka Khan doing a performance for Michelle Indigo Cello. And that was when at the end of my getting dropped from Warner Brothers, Shaka wrote me this letter. And then never did I think 5 years later down the road that I would win a couple Grammys with her on the album. And it's like, you never know. You never know. And I think the one lesson that I was taught is just, you know, but just believe in what you do, and just you can't care about that stuff. And it's really hard to say that, but trust me, like, it really changed my life.
So that letter that you wrote to Jimmy and Terry, do you think, I mean, that had to have been like a huge turning point for you, like you said, that kind of guy that got you guys back together. And did that kind of give you more juice or more energy at that point to like, okay, you know, I'm back with Jimmy and Terry, and our paths have met again? Did that kind of give you that?
It did, man. I mean, I think
energize you a little bit.
It made me feel safe because I was always safe in that world with them, and you know, very, very well respected from them. So it gave me that place of just like, okay, we're gonna do something. And then finally getting into that place of being like comfortable, I was realizing that they were uncomfortable with where they were at,
right, and
really just didn't have that bite either, because things were just changing in music. And we got together, and it was just like there was this excitement. And it's crazy because it happened around the same time of the year in November, and I'll never forget it. And so, you know, to look back at what we've been able to accomplish and where I'm going now, where I'm at, where my brother's at, it's awesome, because now me being an artist again, I have a great story to tell. And at the end of the day, it's not about how much money I can make. It's not about how many records I can sell. It's just, how can I inspire somebody? How can they inspire me by watching what I do affect their lives in a positive way? So I'm really excited because I'm doing it my way now.
Right.
I know my way is going to work.
Right.
And I just want to invite everybody to the party. This ain't no, it's not what it was for me before, where you had a race played a big part in a lot of the stuff that I dealt with, being Mexican and really doing black music, doing urban music. I mean,
right.
Mexicans were pop locking. We're all the same, really, at the end of the day, right? So, now I think the message for me is now that I have a son, I want my son to be able to look at somebody like myself that can show him what African Americans now believe, and that's you can't be a president.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I want to show my son that you can do the same things that I've done. And the crazy thing was, having a son really allowed me to realize while I was getting his room together, when I have icons like Michael Jordan and Michael Jackson and Obama and all of these figures, it's like, well, where are we at?
Right.
As Latinos, Mexicans, whatever you want to call us, where are we at? And when somebody like Donald Trump says what he says,
what he says.
Like,
yeah, exactly.
It's like, yo, no one comes to the forefront, but let a cop do something to a black person. Mm-hmm. You guys come with the thunder.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Al Sharpton's coming to your house. Al Sharpton's coming.
Jesse gonna be there.
coming. Exactly.
And my biggest thing is like, are we that punkish?
Right.
That we can't come to the forefront, and some of us don't know how. So it's like, look, I have the platform. My weapon is my music.
Right.
I can shoot off rounds from another perspective, but the best thing that I have going for me is my weapon of music. And so I'm using that as a tool to really bring everybody together. And I went to the White House. I was invited to the White House. I played at the White House with B.B. King and Mick Jagger and all these cats. And the one thing that really impacted my life was getting my food at the catering. And the Mexican guy who was put my chicken and my rice on my plate, he said, I watch how you talk to all of these superstars. And I told my son and my daughter, my wife, how happy it is to see a Mexican American here. And it's not even about you.
Right.
At that point, it's like, man, I couldn't even eat my meal.
Right.
Like, dang.
And not even realizing how you've impacted somebody else that's watching that, and then can then take that home and then tell their son, daughter, whatever, like, you can do it too, just based off of seeing how you're mingling with these folks.
Yeah, exactly. And it was like, wow, and it was a very monumental event that the White House, everybody in the White House said, we've never seen Obama come up in house slippers and jeans and a V-neck sweater and just hang out like this.
What Shell have on no tip, boy? I'm trying to see what Shell was working with, tip, boy.
Man, she came out looking, like that there, boy.
Like that there, boy. That there,
like
boy.
a tall, fresh glass of water, boy.
Oh, wait. AM Caffeine Morning Show's in the building. My man Bobby Ross Avila dropping gems and jewels, man. That's how we get down right here. It's the AM Caffeine Morning Show. Ron C. Yeah. Get back into the mix, man. And what is it? What jeans am I trying to see Shell in again? Them apple bottoms? Them apple bottoms. Hey,
jeans.
Nelly, Shell need that right now. UPS, FedEx, AM Caffeine Morning Show. Round C, let it go. I love me some Shell, dog. Oh, that Teacher Moses, AM Caffeine Morning Show. AM Caffeine Morning Show. It's your boy DLC, Ron C and the ones and twos. Smooth D, Rhea Beer.
Hey.
Special Grammy Award winning guest up in the damn building.
Grammy Award.
Grammy Award.
4-time Grammy Award.
Let it be known, Rhea, 4 times.
4 times.
4.
Playing skill, step your game up, dog. You got a long way to go. Hey, Bobby, that joint right there with Ahmad. What?
Man.
Banger, dude. Shout out to Ahmad. I think I just saw him post something recently, like I think he just graduated or something, right?
Yeah.
Really dope. Shout out to Ahmad.
Yeah, man, he was awesome. He was a part of that whole process too, and doing the whole going from artist to producer. And man, Iz had that fire, and it was. Forget it. It was a wrap.
Yes,
so
banger.
What
dude.
do you prefer, being an artist or a producer?
I'm first and foremost an artist. I think I'm a bit of both at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
What I really learned a whole lot with just even being with Jam and Lewis was, I was able to understand brands, and it was never about making a Bobby record. So if I worked with Usher, I would make an Usher record. If it was Janet, I'd make a Janet record. And it really helped me figure out too, like how and why did everybody get it wrong and what to do to get it right for me. And it's like, okay, you can do all of this great stuff, you can do all of this, whatever, but who are you at the end of the day? What's your message? What is your brand? And I learned that. And Doc knows what's up. I mean, we went into this whole world of technology, and everybody talks about Dre and stuff, and it's awesome. But the truth is that we were the guys that helped develop beats before anybody existed, and this happened in 2000.
Okay, so I didn't mean to cut you, Bobby. We were going to get into his new project because he has a new EP, but before we do that, I'm glad he brought that crap up, dog. Besides the fact that we're trying to get free headphones here, Bobby, it's very important that folks understand the origin of the whole beats concept.
Yeah.
And even down to the effing logo. Like, come on, dog.
Yeah, the logo is basically the Avila Brothers logo. The B is the B in the Avila Brothers. And, Monster Cable, which too doesn't get credit for what they did, but they were looking to venture off into music, and they were trying to find a musical experience that would connect with hardware. And, we tried a few different things, and it ultimately came up to making a decision about whether it's going to be iPod or headphones, and we went with headphones. And we talked to Usher at the time. He wasn't really feeling it. Ludacris wasn't feeling it, and we said we need somebody that's synonymous with audio and low end. And so we said, Dre would be great, and he passed on it, and then came back, and we just had this experience of just, it was great for us because we learned retail. I mean, we developed so many relationships over the course of that process that it got us into the world of developing an MPC drum machine for Akai, a company called Novation, Focusrite, being involved with great companies like that. And we just got into this world of technology, and I had a lot of experience dealing with that kind of stuff being a young kid with Yamaha. So, man, we went on and did, to be honest with you, that's probably, if you want to talk just numbers, that's probably the best invention or creation I think I've ever done and touched in my life. Aside from all the great music that was able to, impact the world. But that's what I'm saying. You never know. Everybody has. Quincy Jones did a gazillion different things for a whole lot of people in different forms and all facets of entertainment and business. And it all originated from music. So I just kind of took the same principle of when you're making a record, the bass line has to be right. The guitar part needs to be right. The rhythm section. And I applied the same kind of principles in business and technology. And man, I'm just, I'm blessed to be around such greatness. I mean, you're never going to see Michael Jackson because Michael Jackson was with Gamble and Huff, with Quincy Jones, with Motown. I mean, just say Motown alone. You got Lionel Richie, you got Stevie Wonder, you got Marvin Gaye, you got the Funk Brothers. That's an institution that you're never, ever, ever going to have again. And I think the information that I've been able to gain by being around incredible people, it's once in a lifetime. And you get once in a lifetime ventures and success like we got. The whole idea is just to, you're as good as your last hit, right? So everybody forgets you after the movie's done. So you got to come with the next best thing.
Right. So just to touch on that, stay on that for one quick second. So how does that work, Bobby, from a financial standpoint with the Beats thing? Were you guys compensated like you should have been for the creation of it? Like, how does that work now?
You know what?
As big as it is.
We weren't compensated on that side like everybody would think. Right. But what I will say is that we were smart enough to find other ways to maneuver, because the truth is the economy went down and nobody knew that that what
was
we
going
were
to do what it's
doing,
going to do.
You know, you never know. I mean, like I said, my laziest work probably is going to be confessions.
Right.
You know, so
Right.
you never know, you know, what's going to happen. And, you know, the author to Usher, really, the gatekeeper was Jermaine Dupri. And when he heard this record, what you guys don't even know is Truth Hurts is an MP3 file. We lost the zip file on the MPC. We could not load it. So what you hear on Confessions is an MP3. So
Crazy.
that record changed the course of what Jermaine Dupri and Brian Michael Cox were doing.
Had to switch it up. Right.
So they came back, and the great thing is we had this magic. So it's the same thing with all these other things. You know, you find another way to come at and attack the situation, and that's what we did. And you know, all these guys using drum machines and stuff in the MPC. You know, the Renaissance, that was me and my brother.
Right.
You know, and we did that with Best Buy, and we did that with Akai, and you know, we took everybody that needed to be a part of it with us. So we were able to do so many other things outside of just beats.
Just beats.
And that's all they have is beats. And the thing is that we didn't go from HTC to back to themselves and then to Apple, and then they're trying to figure it out. You know, we helped them build a brand. And for us, it wasn't about just building brands. It was really about building technology and experience,
Right.
that everybody can engage with. And that was our whole premise of developing that. So, you know, I've been a believer in, you know, I've been broke for so long. We know how to make money.
Right.
You know, the thing is like, do you want to be remembered for making money or for creating and making creative
And leaving a mark.
That's it. You know, it's all about what you leave behind. You never see a U-Haul behind a hearse, right? So you can't take it with you.
Right.
So while I'm living and I'm breathing, I just want to create the best magic I can possibly create. Whatever I touch, I just wanted to make an impact. That's it.
Right.
That's who I am. You know, I play and practice when I don't get a check.
Right.
So I love it.
About to release this new EP, Beats, Riots, and Lives.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about that a little bit.
Well, it was just kind of like an organic kind of transition of just getting back to who I am, and I had a really long conversation with King Tech and Sway.
What up, Tech and Sway?
Tech and Sway.
Yeah.
And you know, we were, you know, just kind of talking about like, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? And it's, you know, I never thought about it, you know, after all these years, and I said, you know what? You know, one thing that really made a huge impact in my life was just hearing, you know, Donald Trump say what he said, and it reminded me, like, what am I doing?
Right.
What are you like? Are you really like not gonna do anything? You're just gonna this is it?
Right.
And I'm tired of, I can't do the same thing over and over again with making records for artists and stuff. It's just, I'm not inspired anymore. I mean, I think the last inspiration I've ever had was probably with Anthony Hamilton and El DeBarge, and I was really passionate, like, you know, and those experiences are just crazy. So, you know, for me, I know what it feels like, I know what it looks like, and I said, look, I'm gonna do this, fellas. I'm gonna do it. And when you are becoming an artist, like just talking to you today, I went on this run and everybody's like on emails and everybody's hitting me up. All the companies, Monster, you know, we got some great stuff that we're going to be doing. I'm going to open up for Janet. And, you know, there's a lot of
tickets.
There's a lot. You got tickets. You got it. I'm not going to be Doc at lingerie. I got you. No, but you have to say no to some people. You can't say yes to everybody. So right. I get it. But, you know, everybody, the great thing about where I'm at in my life, and I'm very, very happy, I'm at peace, is that everybody wants to see me win.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And when you have respect from your peers and you got, you know, all of your heroes, I'm actually, the EP is just a setup for the album. Mm-hmm. But I have a lot of the people I've worked with, Earth, Wind and Fire, and just that are going to be a part of the process, just to have Maurice White and the guys just to show me so much love and to really care and are excited about what I'm doing.
Right.
You know, that you couldn't buy that. So, you know, the EP's coming out, and it's really kind of just showcasing some of the facets of who I am. I got RZA on it, who I just like love to death. Crooked Eye, and this cat Armin, Dub, who's awesome, and just Siri X. We have the single coming out, and it's really just kind of conceptual and just kind of really talking about not really chasing singles, but just kind of having some substance out there to just show people what Bobby is doing and who I am.
And kind of doing it the way that you want to do it, not being dictated by any company or whatever. Like, whatever you're feeling, this is what I want to do.
Exactly. And it's like, well, let's do a mixtape, or it's like, look, no, I'm doing an EP. I'm putting it out for free.
Yeah.
And it's very message driven, but just in a cool way. Marvin Gaye never had the solution of what was happening. He just asked everybody what's going on.
What's going on?
Right.
You know what I'm
have
saying?
all these little sayings. I'm like writing
No,
them
Rhea,
down
I was
and
gonna
stuff.
tell
I was
you-
like, dang, where's he coming up with this stuff?
Yo, for real, he was just on a roll,
Yeah.
but you got to write down the whole U-Haul behind
the
the hearse.
U-Haul behind the
I
hearse.
was
I
like,
heard that one too.
Bobby, I got that, homeboy. No publishing either. I'm letting you know I'm taking that.
Hey, go ahead. It's free domain. It's free domain. No, like I said, I've been around so many guys, and my mentors Norman Whitfield, all these guys that just were full of greatness, man. And I was just a sponge, and I just made it work for me. And I think with the EP, that's what I want to talk about. I want to show folks that, everybody, it's not a black, it's not a brown thing, it's not a white thing, it's not a purple thing. It's just a people thing.
Right.
And there's great police out there. There's a whole lot of greatness, and there's a whole lot of bad everywhere. But we just got to keep it pushing.
True. So, AM Caffeine Morning Show exclusive. Here's what we're gonna do before we get up out the building.
Mm-hmm.
Bobby, I need you to introduce your single, dude. We're gonna let this mother effer blast off, dog.
All right, here you go. From Beats, Riots, and Lives. No Apology. Bobby Ross Avila, just Siri X.
Good looking Bobby in the building. It's AM Caffeine Morning Show. Yeah, Ron C, drop some mother effing bombs or something, dog. Let's get excited. Shoot.
Dear Lord,
we got Grammys up in the building, homie.
brought upon us. And look down upon us with forgiveness for all the sins we will
AM
have in the
Caffeine Morning
future.
Show. Thanks, Bobby, for rocking with us for this hour. You know how we get down each every Wednesday. We'll be back next week, next Wednesday.
Try, Lord.
Next Friday, we have a bunch of guests, too. So
Try
you
to
guys
keep
enjoy
our
the rest
heads
of your
up in bad
weekend. AM
times.
Caffeine Morning Show. Bobby, thanks, man.
This is a
Brand
bad
new
time.
joint. Ron C,
Appreciate
let
you.
it go. That's how we
Show
get
us the
down.
way.
Peace.
And if you can't show us the way, then forgive us for being lost.